plenty of airflow there and still plenty up there. So everything seems to be working the way it's supposed to. Welcome back to Living with a Classic, and if you're new to my channel, I hope you stick around and consider subscribing. I put new videos every week, so there's always something new and fun to watch here on the channel. As you might know, I daily drive a 1975 XJ6 all year round at the moment, which is, well, it's probably not the most normal thing to do, driving one of these now when there's a lot of snow and it's really cold out, but it actually has gone really well. I've only had one complaint so far, and that is the heat is not as good as I thought it would be. The heat in the other XJ6s I've had before and the XJ12 is excellent. I mean, it gets really hot in there, but for some reason it's just not really good. The airflow is not really working well, so I think something is wrong. So we're going to go outside now and investigate in the car and see if we can see what is wrong. Hopefully fix it so I don't have to have it on max all the time and be so cold in the car. It's quite peaceful and beautiful in this winter wonderland. Really nice and quiet when it's snowing like this. Went for a drive a couple hours ago. Went down the mountain. I live on top of the mountain, so there is actually a difference in temperature. So down below the mountain it was above freezing, so I was down there for a bit. Everything melted off the car, and then when I came back the car is still warm a few hours later, so the snow isn't sticking to it yet, but it is still snowing. I don't know if you can tell on camera. Car's behaving really well in snow, actually, believe it or not. I didn't really know what to expect. This is the first winter of me trying this out, and I do have proper winter tires, of course. Where I live you can have studded tires as well, so I have Nokian Hakkapeliitta studded winter tires. Just look at those spikes in there. Get excellent grip. Haven't had any issues with it so far. I even tried a couple of emergency stops just to see what would happen, and got really good grip, so no issues at all, and no grip really well on ice as well. The only sort of issue I've had so far with winter driving has been some heating issues. The heater works well once the car has, warmed up. It takes a while for the cooling system to warm up. It's a pretty big engine, 4.2 liter. There's a massive coolant system, but once everything's warmed up, you get some nice heat in the cabin. But I've had a little bit of airflow issues. But first, let me just show you how the heater is supposed to work in one of these cars, in case you're not familiar with it. This is a manual version of heat on these cars. There is an automatic climate control available as well on cars with AC. So I have a 1977 XJ12. That one has the automatic climate control and AC. This one has no AC, just heat and cold. So you have the airflow on this side and the temperature settings on this side. Pretty straightforward. So off, of course, is everything being off. RAM is all the vacuum and everything is active. So heat and stuff will flow through, or hot water will flow through the heater matrix or not through it, depending on what this is set to. And the effect of the car driving forward, air being pushed over the vent up there, will push, air into the car. This works really well at highway speeds. So when you get up to highway speeds in this car, you don't need the fans at all. You can just put on RAM and you get nice airflow, which is nice that you don't have to hear the fans. And there's low, medium, and high. Pretty straightforward there. Nothing really special. We'll get to defrost in a little bit, but you have high, heat, low, and vent. So vent is just maximum cold air going into the car. And you have, low and heat, something in the middle. High is hot, and defrost is really hot. And during defrost, you get most of the heat going out, or most of the airflow going out from the top, up here, and the sides. I believe in the manual it says about 70% of airflow goes up to the heater, to the vents up here for defrost, which are connected to here, so you can aim these to defrost the side windows as well. And you get the rest 30% down at your feet. There's supposed to be one of these in here, which I will fit a little later. I prepared to take some things off because we're going to have a look inside here. So there's one of these vents on each side. I'll show you there is one over there as well. So that's basically what happens with defrost. Also, the temperature is then lower at your feet than up here to get maximum heat up here. However, as soon as you go off defrost, you go into the heat part, you get hotter air at your feet than you get through the vents up here. So you still get airflow to the screen and to the sides here, but you get more hot air down there. And that's really just how the system works. The center vent here is only active during low and vent. So it's vacuum operated, so when you're set it to lower vent and the engine's running, the little black thing in here will open up and you get airflow through here. So that's really only when you want a lot of air to get into the car when it's, you know, cold out. And then you have the same thing in the back there as well. There's a vent going back there, and the knobs you can choose if you want air coming out from there or air going down on the sides at your feet. So all in all, a pretty nice system. However, I do have some issues. I'm not getting good airflow on the right side. Defrost works really well on the left. I get really good heat out there as well. Not getting any good defrost up here. It makes a small, if it's all fogged up, it will, defrost a bit in this area, but it will miss over here, and this only reaches over to here, and I'm not getting any heat out here at all. This issue, I hope, is pretty simple, because when I got the car, it came with a lot of parts, and a lot of spare interior parts. I have some spare central consoles and some other things, and it came with this thing as well, which I recognize now is the duct that goes behind here to provide heat from up here or airflow out to here. And I'm guessing since I have one, it's probably not a spare one, it's probably missing. So we're gonna have a look at that. You can access that through the glove box. While we're doing that, we're also going to fix this, because the glove box lid now goes down all the way. There's supposed to be a stop here, and I do have a few spare of those laying around, so see if I can find that and we'll fix that. See why we're not getting that much airflow up here. Hopefully it's not a fan issue. This car has twin fans, one on each side. And if you've been following along, when I went through the fuses on this car a long time ago, I noticed there was an extra fuse box put in place, and that's for the fans. That's because a long time ago there's been some type of damage to that part of fuse box for fans, so they were done separately. And it seems like they're both working, but if they're not, that's not something I'm going to tackle right now, because that would be taking the whole dash out. And it's not that big of an issue with the heat. I just want a little bit more airflow on this side as well, so I can, defrost or get the humidity off these windows when I'm driving as well, and get more even heat in the cabin. So we're going to start by removing all of this. It's just a couple of screws all the way around here and down here as well. And this should all come out, this as well. Then we can have a look inside the glove box. If you keep hearing a weird sound in the background, it's just the clock in the car has gotten noisy now when it's gotten cold outside. I don't really know why, so maybe it doesn't like the cold. But so far the rest of the car is actually enjoying the cold. It's running well. The screw has been damaged, so let me just... Normally these are held in place with 4 screws, and they're different than the ones in here, so someone has definitely been in here before, and I probably have if that thing is missing. So I wonder what else I will find. I do have a lot of these screws laying around, so I should be able to find some spare ones in all my parts. The ones here on the side do appear to be the original ones. I do know that a previous owner restored the dashboard, because it's in excellent shape. It's not that long ago, so maybe that's why all of this was apart, and maybe they just simply forgot to put that in when they had it apart. I mean, that could be easy. There's a lot of stuff you gotta take out to get the dash out, so we'll see. And you gotta be careful, because these are pretty fragile, the insides here, and I don't have a spare one, so I'm gonna be pretty careful when I take it out. There we go, it's starting to move. Just push it gently inwards, and then it comes out through the bottom. So I immediately see one big issue. So here's the right hand fan motor. It's the same one on the left, just a backwards one. And they blow into the heater core here. And you see that one is not on there at all, or halfway on there. So that would also mean that even if this fan is working, not all of it is being blown in there. It also means that the other fan blowing from the other side, some of that is being blown out here as well. So that is definitely not good. But all of this still feels really nice and soft, so that should get on there no problems. And we might put a little bit of electrical tape or something on there to make it stick better. And I can see that, oh wow, this whole thing is actually loose now. So that is completely loose. And then up in there, that you can see, is where that hose is supposed to connect to. And this is part of the defrost up here. So I think we'll start by turning on the ignition, turning on the fans, feeling if this one runs as well, or if it's just the other one, and we'll go from there. Okay, let's switch on the fans, let's put them on medium. And yeah, this one is definitely running as well. And I can feel there's a lot of air escaping out here. So I think this is part of the problem right over there. And of course, this not being connected doesn't help. I do feel plenty of airflow up here. And if I actually block that, so put the camera down a little bit, then I feel plenty of airflow up here. So I think the process of this just being completely open and not having to go through this vent here in the tube just makes the air take the easiest path straight out into nothing. That's why I'm not getting good vent up here, because if you want maximum defrost, you're supposed to close these as well, and that will help. So I think I have found the issue, and both fans are running, so that is really, really good. Let's see, so this should be really easy just to get back on, and this should be really easy up here as well. So quick and easy fix, I hope. I've set up a little bit of a magnetic flashlight here so you guys can hopefully see a little bit more what I'm doing. It's quite tight in here, so it's very difficult to film. So this is basically mostly held in place by this part in here, and it just slides over like that. And I've seen, at least on some of the cars I've taken apart, there's usually tape here. You can see there's some remnants of tape. So I've taken out some just black electrical tape I'm going to use. So we'll put that over there, and well, I actually think that we'll put this part up on here first, up on the sort of the frost part. Just being careful because everything is, you know, old plastic and rubber, but hopefully it will actually slide on there. After a lot of fiddling, this is finally on, and I realized why the previous person who had this apart did not get that on. The housing here is a little bit cracked in the end back here. It's impossible to show on camera, but that means that this is extremely difficult to get on because you're pushing against weak plastic. So it took quite a while, but it's on there now. I'm going to put the bolts back on here just to hold this in place. And I'm going to keep my eye out for a spare one of these since it's cracked. The rest of it's working fine, but have a look for a spare one, or I'll probably take this apart sometime during the summer or something while I'm driving a different car, and, you know, fix this with some, probably fix this with some epoxy and it would be fine, but it should hold up now. And I'll put some tape over here, and then we'll move on to getting this slit in here, on here, and try and get some tape on that as well. Now I have some tape on here. The next part is to slide this on. Hopefully it'll be a little bit easier. I'm going to hold on to this so it doesn't slide off up there, because that would be absolutely terrible. And let's see how difficult this is going to be. They're supposed to be a really tight fit, so that's why they are a little bit difficult to get on. Oh, there we go. That's really good. The mounting tabs for this one were a little bit damaged, so it's not going to sit perfectly flush. So I'll have to have a look for a spare one of those as well, but I haven't actually noticed that it was loose before. I'm never in the passenger seat of this car, and hardly anyone actually is. It's mostly just me driving alone or my daughter in the back seat. So I haven't really noticed this. Have a look out for one. Now back to the electrical tape, which works really, really well for these sort of things. It stays sticky for a long time, and for some reason it doesn't want. There we go. Want to split, and I can't really get the whole side of it, but I can get most of it. Just make sure that it stays on there. It is pretty much airtight without it, just because how tight this actually fits. There we go. Just a little bit on the back side as well. And now after that, it's just on to getting the sort of big hose that goes off this heater fan to actually sit the way it's supposed to as well. Okay, now that should not go anywhere now. A little while later, and that thing is pushed on now. Put some tape on there just so it doesn't slide off again. I mean, it got on there pretty well, but just to make sure the same thing doesn't happen again. Now all of this should be fine and hopefully working a lot better. So I'm gonna grab the keys. I'll turn on the ignition again, or just the accessories, and turn on the fan. And let's see. Oh, getting good airflow there. Getting good airflow up there. It's the same as up here as well. And if I even close this up, I get really good airflow up there, just the way it's supposed to be. And if I set this to something else, I get good airflow down there, and I still have plenty of airflow there, and still plenty up there. So everything seems to be working the way it's supposed to. Just gotta put all this back together, because I have noticed one thing, that when it gets cold out now, and I don't drive for that long. I mean, usually I drive for 15 minutes or so one way and then 15 minutes back or so. Right now, when working from home, I just drive back and forth to my daughter's daycare. I notice I need to have on defrost, pretty much all the time. Otherwise, I think it's a little bit cold in the car. But that could definitely be if all of this has not been working. I haven't gotten good airflow in the car. Only had, the vents on that side bring air in, and it's been pretty cold on this side. However, on longer journeys, I've noticed I can, bring it down here, or on slightly warmer days. So if I still feel that it is too cold in the future with all this together, but I will test it for a while now, I may need to adjust all of this. You see, this all moves and opens and closes flaps, and vacuum to the heater valve. Heater valve is brand new, and I checked that it is fully open even in this position. And the heater core, it isn't blocked, because when I have it on defrost, everything is nice and toasty. So I think it was just mostly an airflow issue of a lot of the air and heat escaping here, because hot air would escape out here from the heater core right in here. I think that was really the main issue, not enough airflow. But I will drive the car for a little bit, and I will update you guys in a future video and on my Instagram on all of this goes. But I think we actually have fixed it, and for once I think it was a pretty simple fix. Now I just need to put all of this back together. So it's a couple days later, and I've been on quite a few drives. I've been on both short ones and long ones. Just got back from one right now, and the heat is working as it should. I have a lot better airflow, so that really was the issue, just lack of airflow. Even when I had the fans on pretty high before, it was a feeble amount of air that came out of the vents, but now it's really good airflow, and I find that I'm only using the low speed, or maybe sometimes the medium speed if I have some fogged up windows or something. But otherwise, it's the low speed of the RAM is working really well. And before I was running on defrost all the time just because I get cold, but now I can actually crank it down because it gets too hot in the car. So everything is working the way it should, and it's really nice when you find something that's an easy fix like that. I thought it was going to be maybe something more with the fans. I knew a piece of the ducting was probably not there, but I didn't think that would affect the whole system. But the ducting from the fans not going into the heater matrix, I think that really was the big issue, and I'm very happy that it was an easy fix. Anyways, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. And until next time, I'm Adam, and this was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.